I've got it sawn out and sanded up. I could do to take a bit more off there. Glued on some little wedges of hickory as temporary knocks. I found one of my tillering strings is just about the right length. So I'm going to string it, put it on the tiller and have a first look. I wouldn't normally take a bow straight to a low brace, but this should be okay, I think. There, you can see that's a low brace. I've got a lot longer riser and block than normal. Well, it's not a block, it's part of the same wood. I don't know if it will show up on video, but I've got the Z splice in this direction, which is probably pretty unusual. What I might do is do a thin overlay over the back here. Yeah, a nice thin offcut. That'll make a nice little overlay, allow me to round the back a bit more. But this illustrates one of the things about sawing out from a board. It's much more predictable. You can get to a low brace and get it on the tiller pretty quickly. Let's just have a look. Yeah, looking a bit stiff. Mid to outer. What did I say I was looking for? About 35. Yeah, left's looking a bit weak. Where's 30? Right, there's 30 at about 19. So I may well be underweight, but then I can come back this way and extend the inner limb. I can take some off the outer limbs if I want. So I deliberately made it a little longer than I anticipated. And of course the belly will get heat treated, which will probably give me £10 extra, or £5 extra. Looks like that wants to be the upper limb, as it's a little bit weaker. So we'll turn it round and I'll do a bit of fiddling about. Just for the record, we're 64 inches knock to knock, which is a couple of inches longer than I wanted, but I always make them a bit too long because then you can bring them in. I've rounded the belly on the corners of each tip and just rounded corners everywhere generally, trying to get the outers working a bit more. It's round the other way now. I haven't come back into here yet, but I could just extend these fades that way a bit, just give a tiny bit more working length. Let's see what that's done. There's 30 at about 22, that's looking a bit prettier. I may shorten the tips, do a bit more, just a bit of fun. I've narrowed this tip a fair bit, the string line was slightly out, rounded the corners a lot more, but I've left that limb alone. It'd be interesting to see what difference it makes. And that's it, I pulled it to 30, originally it was 30 at 19, last time I pulled it 30 at 22. That's 30 to about 23 and a quarter, so just that easing off this outer has given me another inch and a quarter draw length. And you can see that that's quite a lot greater than that now, so that limb needs to be eased off to match. But that is probably about 35 at 27. So I might not need to shorten it, considering I'm going to heat treat it anyway. So what I'll probably do is narrow that one a bit, try and get these tips coming round a bit more, and then strap it up, 'cause it's taking a little bit of set, strap it up dead flat, heat treat the bejesus out of it, and see what happens.
For the heat treating, I had it strapped down with this limb just spaced up slightly so that the limb I'm treating could be pulled down straight, and you'll see the overall effect. You can see the set in this limb. It's just got a little bit of set, whereas that one's been nicely straightened out and heat treated. So just turn it around and do this limb now. Just noticed a slight problem. The heat treatings bent this limb out this way. That's the weird thing, you can have timber that's been seasoned for umpteen years and it can still move. So, you know, that will need a bit of straightening out with heat later on. But we'll do one thing at a time. Let's get it heat treated first and then worry about the detail. So this limb clamps down, and you can see this one will get pulled down that couple of inches while it's heat treated. And I clamp on these side cheeks which direct the hot air along the limb, so the whole limb gets heated together, so you don't just end up heating one point and bending it down 2 inches. You get the whole limb pulled down nicely, and with that lined up straight to get pulled down onto me bit of timber, it really shows how much that tip's moved across. But that's not a worry. This is the setup for correcting that sideways bend. I actually did it yesterday without that bit of wood there, and it just about corrected it, but it needed that a little bit more, so I just pulled it across a tiny bit more and given it a bit more heat. Especially here, there seemed to be a bit where it could do with a bit more bend. I need to let that cool down and relax a bit before getting on the tiller. It's probably wise to leave it overnight, but being an impatient git, I probably won't bother. Probably just give it a few hours. Let's have plenty of time to cool down. Let's see how far it moves when I unclamp it. Slide that off, slide that out. Yeah, that's about right. Bit of friction there. Let's just relieve the pressure off those clamps. Yeah, that looks pretty good now. There's a little bit of a waggle here. I think it's slightly thick there, but it's neither here nor there really. I'll leave it a bit longer. I'll get it up on the tiller this afternoon and we'll have a shifty. Right, I've heat treated the belly, narrowed the tip substantially. I had to straighten it a bit because it warped with the heat treating. But you can see it looks like this upper limb is now a bit stronger than the lower. But because it's effectively symmetrical in other respects, I can just flip it on the tiller if I wish. I'm pulling it from slightly above centre line. So we'll just have a quick look, see what the heat treating's done. It felt harder to string. Yeah, I think I need to flip that on the tiller. Yeah, I'll just remark the centre line so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, you see there's 30, say 30 at 19 now, whereas I think it was 30 at 22, something like that. Yeah, it was 30 at 22, so it's gained us some. It's looking perhaps a bit weak there. I can ease off, but I don't want to ease off the heat treated belly because it won't be heat treating. I'll ease off the width, make it really skinny at the tips.
There you go.